And I'm going to stop here because whenever I say I like the humor of somebody, Hop's like, well, let me tell you something terrible about them.
I mean, I don't know a specific history on him. I do not have my catalog of doings of all celebrities.
Mm-hmm.
Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Pointless Discourse with myself, Hoppocalypse, and Itisdpayne.
Hello, it is me, Payne of D. My brain just thought of that be the lead up to someone saying a D's nuts joke.
Well, now you've given everybody the idea.
You're welcome. Hey, I was cleaning my apartment and I found something that will take us down memory lane. Do you want to see it?
I hope it's not nuts.
It's definitely not that.
Your segue was D's nuts. Oh, that reminds me. I found something while I was cleaning.
Well, it's because I looked down and saw what it was. Let's see. I got to make sure I hold up the right side so that way anybody on the YouTube thing does not use anything. So I found this.
I figured it was a business card.
Yep.
I found some of I found my box of mine because it was cheaper to buy them by bulk. So I'm like, time to recycle 200 business cards.
Yeah. I don't know where mine are. I bought business cards once.
I bought that because I was at PAX. Yeah, we were all at PAX East.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, mine were not as well made as this.
And I had a little wallet. I just paid Vistaprint extra money for the gloss and the rounded edges.
And it says Mixer Streamer, Rabbit Mom, Gamer of all varieties, Hoppocalypse, Puns, Community, and Whimsy.
I couldn't. I had so much trouble picking the last word.
Hey, it's all good. Mine didn't have any words.
Do I still have
mine? Because I don't think I even have mine.
I don't think I have anybody. Well, if I can find the case that I had carried it around in East, I would still I could probably find yours.
Well, we didn't meet each other at East.
Oh, it was Unplugged.
Yeah, would have been Unplugged.
Did you have your cards with you at Unplugged?
I don't know. I've been to so many Unplugged.
Yeah, it's hard to know. I don't know where my pun book is. That's what I should start the podcast with. A really outdated pun book that cites Ben Stiller's height of his career as Zoolander. That's how old this book is.
That reminds me of something else. So that dude that eats people.
Allegedly.
Yeah.
Allegedly.
I forgot his name, but I was driving into work before my phone connected the Bluetooth to my car. Preston and Steve were talking about something, and that guy, I forgot his name. I don't know who he is, but he was someone interviewed him and he was like, yeah, look, it's a bummer that it happened, but you know what? I'm really glad it did. I'm really glad the rumors went around because it really helped me realize what was important in my life. And then and then I think whatever one of Preston and Steve that does impressions were both eating people.
That's such a weirdly phrased interview to I'm so glad I could focus on me and my cannibalism.
I also, it reminds me of another, we were talking about YouTube channels that were there that were on other shows, but there's one that was definitely Philly based, and they made a joke a lot, and now it's playing back in my head right now of local humor. And then it was just they played a little jingle, and it's just anybody outside the Philadelphia area. I don't know, do you get
I do, yeah. Growing
MMR?
up I used to listen to a lot of MMR, and I remember the other one was 104.5 was my other radio station. I think those both even down where I initially grew up, which is it was an hour south of Philly in the New Jersey area. I think that also got it. So I think the reach is a lot bigger than you'd expect.
I think it reaches down to Delaware too. Yeah, I heard a lot of people who live in Delaware call it lesser Philly.
There was one station I used to love when I grew up there, but it was like a college town Delaware station, I'm pretty sure. So when I grew up an hour south of Philly, I would get it, but I would only get it if I went like a little bit more south. And then I would be able to pick it up. And I would actually, it was like the station that, I'm sure they still do it today, the college radios, but it was like the only station where I was like, that's new and I like it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I just trust Spotify to tell me stuff, but like Spotify's UI is like, it annoys me sometimes, but
Yeah.
I realized the other day on my phone I can't search through a playlist. Like I was like trying to talk to somebody about like, oh, I think this band is on my playlist I listen to. I opened up the playlist and I tried to search and I was like, I don't see a magnifying glass. I don't know if I can like look this up.
Oh. Okay. So the way my brain was like, you couldn't scroll through it, and I'm like, that's weird, because I forget there's the magnifying glass, so I just scroll through the like playlist. I'm like, yeah, this one.
Wait, let me look at the app now that we
Now
like,
that
there's
we're calling out the one company that hosts our podcast for free.
There is like the you can search in general, but say like, let me make sure my phone's muted so I don't like do something.
No, let's hear like your emo punk rock music.
There you go. Yeah,
I
so
don't
like
know.
if I have a playlist itself open, I can't like go in and like do anything with it. If I hit the dots, it's just like edit, delete, add to queue, add other playlist, make private.
Like, is it your own playlist?
Yeah, I made this. This is mine.
Oh. This is mine? I love it.
It's 7 hours long. Oh wait, no, it's the very top. Find in playlist. I'm a dummy. Well,
I'm glad we figured this out live.
hello, recorded podcast. You can all leave comments, reviews, and say, wow, I thought Hop was the one that's supposed to keep Dpayne in line, not the other way around.
I'm trying to find a playlist that I actually made. I'm lazy. I just like.
Playlists?
No, I just downloaded the radio.
Oh,
You want to know
that's
the
fair.
last? This is the last one I got. This is a really weird picture, but I was like, last 2 nights ago, I was like listening to Vaporwave, and then I'm like, I want to listen to Vaporwave in the car, and then there was this Vaporwave classics, and I'm like, I don't recognize any of these songs, but that's okay. I'm liking it, and it's got like some weird purple blue lady there.
Hi, Purple Blue Lady. Have you
Yeah.
ever looked at your day list?
A while ago, but not recently, but I can look at it now.
Yeah, that's how we should start opening the podcast, rather than
Okay.
me telling a bad joke. So my day list...
I like both.
My day list today is Emo Revival Suburbia Night. And this is the description I have. You listen to horror and spooky at night. Here's some Emo Revival Suburbia indie punk mixtape, Twinkly, and Midwest emo.
Mine is Atypical Alternative Night. Which is you listen to Christian and CCM. What the heck is that?
Maybe that's one of your
I clicked
subgenres
it.
of vaporwave.
I guess. I don't know. I don't know what CCM is. At night, here are some atypical alternative Christian folk strings, circuit, and Lent. What the heck is Lent?
Like
I
the
know
Catholic holiday.
That's what I was wondering, but I'm
You
like,
listen to music about fasting for 40 days? Impressive. I didn't know there's a whole genre.
I didn't know there's a whole genre. Like, I recognized some of the people that was in there. I didn't know Lent was a thing. What the heck is circuit?
Oh, you're learning so much about yourself today.
Yeah. Well, this is it last year because I don't know, I had to like change what Oh wait, you know what might also be because sometimes I listen to 528 hertz frequency music to go to sleep.
You can exclude things from your taste profile, by the way, if you
Nah,
ever want to do that.
It's all in there. It's all in there. And so watch within when we record this our next episode in like 3 days, we'll have to look again and see if the vaporwave and 528 hertz healing and meditation 8-hour playlist. I don't know why I chose an 8-hour playlist because I can't even get to 6 sometimes.
There's a sleep thing there's a sleep setting
I'm learning so much about Spotify.
You remember old TV remotes? Did you ever use your TV remote to set your TV to sleep so you could fall asleep to the TV? I would do that all the time as a kid.
No, I would get yelled at if I fell asleep with the TV on in my room.
But you can set the timer to turn off in an hour.
This also reminds me that all I had was like the old CRTV.
Oh, well, that's a that's a different problem.
Yeah, and then it's like then I had a plasma TV in my room, and you didn't want the plasma TV on because the plasma TV
would
burn. Also would burn pictures into the screen, but then also heat up your apartment.
Yeah, it burns. It just burns.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Who knew that we were going to go down this when we talked about memory lane?
This is technically all a bunch of memories. Here, I'll put this on the record. I went to the dentist today for the first time in 4 years.
Oh, I got to write this down for our Jeopardy.
And now people are going to be like, what is that? We'll be like, oh yeah, that's not
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about
it. Come back here in maybe 6 months.
Oh, man. You know, instead of doing Jeopardy, do Wheel of Fortune. But like with just stuff we said.
We'd have to do some more editing. I would be able to show it to the YouTube viewers.
It's one of the things. Sometimes it can get really bad, but I love it when I see clips of Wheel of Fortune where someone like
really off
with
base,
full confidence says something, and you're like,
"That's not a phrase."
That's not a phrase, and that is not TV appropriate. Don't know how that got on. There was one where it was recent when someone said something, and the guy was like, "Yeah, yeah," and then it's just like it cuts to, and like everyone's like in the comments like, "He didn't answer the question. Why is whatever the host of Wheel of Fortune hyping him up?" Because like everyone's just like, "That's good. That's a good answer." It's like, no, he didn't answer the question. But anyway, that and Family Feud. I think Family Feud became a lot funnier with Steve Harvey on there. And I'm gonna stop here because whenever I say I like the humor of somebody, Hop's like, well, let me tell you something terrible about them.
I mean, I don't know a specific history on him. I do not have my catalog of doings of all celebrities ready and available. What I do
that's
know,
in the pun book.
What I do know is he gives me the ick because he has one of those public judge TV series as well, where it's like the public people's court or whatever, and Steve Harvey's the judge. And all he does is go, well, if you took care of yourself better. I'm like, what is daytime television? Why do we bully so many people?
It's not for us.
But like, I also watched a lot of like Maury and who's
Jerry Springer.
Yeah, like if I was sick from school, that was what was on TV. So also technically not for us, but it still came up on my TV screen.
You'd just be like delirious, and then it was like I'm either watching somebody find out that they married who they thought was a woman turned out to be a man.
Those shows were really transphobic.
Yeah. Or it would turn out to be like, you're not the child. And
father,
whatever.
Same difference, I guess.
That would be even more fun. Like, what am I? And they just like
turn into a puppy.
Or no, what's it called? Back to the Future is like speed out of existence. I would watch that show. That'd be bonkers. But
then everybody would find out that their grandfather did sleep with their own grandmother, or like almost did. I forget what the whole incest joke is in Back to the Future.
Oh, yeah, where your grandmother
is your mom.
Yeah, your grandmother is... Because they do it in Futurama.
Yeah.
Because in that one, Fry becomes his own grandfather, which makes him impervious to being hypnotized by the hypnotoads. Because he gives off his own time-warping radiation signal.
That's why, yeah. I forgot that part.
Yeah. Let's do Futurama.
That's a lot.
That will be the guys. If you hear that we're doing Futurama for the show, for the podcast, that means we are ending after that.
Like, it would be a lot easier for me to agree to it if they didn't do like several revival seasons and then several movies in between the revival seasons.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I don't know. Futurama. I like Futurama.
No, it is fun. But in any case, we have rambled quite a bit.
Only for 15 minutes and 9 or 16, 17, 18, 19. That joke, I like saying it every time. And it still gets me. But it's not funny.
It is to you, to your little editor brain.
Yep.
Are you ready to roll some dice as we tell the people what they actually click
what
on
they
the episode for? Game shows.
Oh, man. Man, if we did a tier list, it would be fun to do a date, like another, like, just, hey, we want to go old school, like, we want to do a ranking tier list, do, like, daytime TV or, like, TV shows.
Quiz for what daytime television show you are. Well,
Yeah,
I prefer
or
to do game shows.
or
Game
like,
shows are a little
like-
bit less insidious.
Yeah, well, like, I don't want to learn about what game show I am because I feel like I judge my personality enough. But it would be fun to, like, rank, like, oh, Supermarket Showdown.
I didn't watch that. I've watched the redo version.
Yeah.
Where, like, you take the cart and you have to, like, find the ingredients in the aisle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think maybe instead of just watch it, like, we just read the tagline for the show, and if we watched it, we can, like, sell it on why it belongs in a certain place to the other person. But it's just, like, we read the tagline, and then just from that alone. Oh, man.
That'd be entertaining. But in any case, the people did not click for game shows.
They should have.
The people clicked to learn about books and our taste in books and what we recommend to each other.
Not that I've been looking at the spreadsheet since we hit record.
Yeah, some oddly specific requests that we have given to each other. We'll each take turns to decide who goes first. We roll some dice. We decided to roll D6. I came up with a convoluted reason the last time we recorded. This time, we've just decided we're going to go to D6 for this
Because
series.
there's 6 episodes.
Is it 6? Yeah.
Is it? I just said a number.
I also helped plan this, so...
Hey, you also want to know something fun? On the spreadsheet, you're known as Anonymous Wombat.
I think it's because I might have it open twice. But oh, it's also telling me I need to update Chrome. Maybe that's why I'm an anonymous.
The last edit was also made 45 minutes ago by Anonymous Kraken. You have a lot of animals. I wonder if it's just me. I don't know what I come off as in there, but I'm rolling the die. Wait, are we doing high or low?
I don't know.
I think we've been doing low.
Okay. Oh yeah, I rolled a 1 and I went first the
Yes.
other time. But yeah, so basically Dpayne and I have come up with specific requests for each other. We don't know what each other's picked for the books. We just know the prompts. We'll read out the prompts and then give our books. And for the books, we'll talk about how it fits, the synopsis, and kind of like recommendations. And also if we have any other runner-ups that we thought might also fit.
Mm-hmm.
I've done it again.
Did you roll a 1?
I did roll a 1.
I rolled a 3.
Usually I roll high, but I guess for this series they're like books.
Yeah, it's like your own personality.
It's almost like I have an Instagram about books.
Mm-hmm.
I have not been keeping up to date with it, but you know.
That's not true. I've been getting all your stories.
I haven't been making posts.
A story's not a post?
No.
Not
Story
a permanent
is
post.
Yeah, story is visible for 24 hours and then.
Yeah. I only post a story on Instagram once a year, and it's for Charity Palooza.
Which is
Uh,
how many weeks from this episode? This episode
let's
is
say this episode. Oh, it's, wait, wrong date. It comes
the next Saturday.
That's not. Let's see. Yeah, next Saturday.
July 20th for charity.
July 20th.
Dpayne.
Yes. I did come up with all the milestone things, and I finally learned my lesson to just choose games that have been on my to play list. Which, here, it won't go too long as I can just say what they are real quick. We're playing Blades in the Dark, which that's fun. As I try to remember my 8 million folders I have on my phone. That one. And this one, the goals. So, you know what? One of these, I remember a long time ago, you said, if you play this, you are required to let me know. Excuse me.
I feel like I said that about Mass Effect. But you've already played that.
No, it's not. It wasn't Mass Effect. I remember this one.
You've already played Hades.
Yeah. But, when we raise $250 in the future, I will be playing Katamari Damacy. That is not not what you said. I remember.
That one's also a
this
fun one.
Yeah, I never played it before. I'm playing Reroll because I own it. And then at $500, I'm going to take all the characters that were made for the Charity Palooza game, make them into Sims, and get the mod that lets them fight to the death.
Oh, I was hoping you were going to say Kiss.
That could also be an option. So, it'd be like, okay, who's smooching who? So yeah, there's that. I don't know. That might also just be fun to make like a whole town with them in there, and then just like, I don't know if there's mods to make them be terrible people, because that's what all the Blades in the Dark characters are. At $750, and this is the game. This is the game that I remember you telling me, like, you have to let me know when you play this. At $750, I will be playing a Hayato boyfriend.
Okay, so you have to play it a lot to get the ending that matters. Heads up. You have to unlock every ending to unlock the true ending. And the true ending is a very good ending.
I'm not going to ask for any spoilers. But I didn't know there's multiple endings. What I do know is
there's multiple bird boyfriends. Duh.
The only dating sim I've ever played besides... Okay, I guess there was
Monster Prom.
Monster Prom and Doki Doki Literature Club, which I don't know if that would be considered a dating sim, but it's the only one.
It's a visual novel.
Yeah.
I haven't played it because I've already been spoiled of what like the bit is.
Yeah, I didn't know the bit.
Strider Strider played a demo. It's an anti-dating sim.
Okay.
Where your character, everybody wants to date your character, and you need to like let them down and say, "I just want to be friends," without pissing them off. So it's fun.
There's a dating sim I saw. Someone a YouTuber we were talking about earlier, Jaden Animations, was talking about, and it was called Speed Dating for Ghosts.
Oh, I think I wanted to download that from itch.io. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like $6 on Steam, and I'm like, I'll get to it eventually. But finally, when we raise $1,000, I'll be returning to one of the only games that I rage quit and never played again on stream. There's only like 5 of them, and that's Bloodborne. So
I just don't play Souls-like, so good luck.
I like Souls-likes. I like not feeling good, I guess. But anyway, hey, that is pretty close to something I got to talk about. But hey, Hop, you have a request to talk about?
D-Payne requested from me, now that we've gone full circle. We plug ourselves and then we do the actual topic at hand.
Plug it in.
D-Payne asked me to bring him a book that challenges... I'll read it as a direct quote instead of changing the tenses. A book that challenges you to stretch the boundaries of space and time. So...
Isn't it normally time and space? I'm a dummy.
You wrote it. This is your oddly specific request. There's no wrong answers.
Except what I wrote is not.
Anyway.
But, by the way, we have the 20-minute timer. I do have it set up.
Cool. So I have my runner-up that I'll go with first. Because overall this prompt, I was like sci-fi, right? And I try to look at the sci-fi that I've read. And there's only like a couple that I've read that are really like indicative of like timelines. So one, I feel like I did not retain anything from, so I did not bring that one in. I think that one is, Recursion by Blake Matter. I don't think that's his last name. Blake Crouch. His other book is Dark Matter. I remember like digging it, but I have not retained anything because I think I read that like right when I was getting back into reading, so I just like inhaled as many books as possible.
Last month.
So right now I'm going to do, my runner-up option, I'm going to say is a romance. So I don't think we've brought I did bring a romance for the first episode.
It's all good.
a sad romance. So I have
Oh wait,
physical copies of these two.
am I starting the timer now, or what am I doing?
Just yeah. I thought you said you started it.
I didn't know. I don't know. Okay, just keep going.
I don't think I'm gonna take the whole time. Anyway,
it's just in case.
This is my this is my runner-up, The 7-Year Slip. This is a romance that follows a character who finds themselves stumbling upon an apartment that was owned by an aunt that they loved dearly that had passed away. But when they go in the apartment, they realize the apartment in itself is like a place out of time, where sometimes you'll run into people that are there 7 years earlier. So it starts out with instances of her running into a guy, and he's like, oh, so-and-so said that, like, I could borrow this apartment for the summer. And she's like, no, like, she's not here anymore. How could she let you borrow it? And she starts to learn that there's a little bit of time traveling, and she starts falling in love with people, and then she grieves over her aunt and everything, blah, blah, blah. And it's also, like, kind of, like, a nice story about, like, figuring yourself out, because, you know, she's remembering herself 7 years ago versus what she is now versus what she wants to be kind of energy. So I like this book. At the time of recording this, I have not met the author yet, but I do have plans to go to a signing event in New York City. So this author has another book coming out soon, and they said that they'll sign their previous works, and they only have 2 previous works, so I'll get them both signed. Because I like a good romance, but my romance, I need it to be sad. But that one has like a little bit of the time travel-y thing where you're kind of bending time to be with other people. But the main book that I'm picking for this prompt.
Sip, 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 sip.
Pause for dramatic effect.
Pause for sippies.
This is How You Lose the Time War. I want to say this was like the first book that really got me back into my reading kick. So like the fact I remember stuff from this probably like, you know, says something about it. I discovered this book on work travel. I found out there was this like an independent bookstore near where I was work traveling a lot to in my previous job. And I went in and I was like, oh, I think I've seen this one on the internet. And I just grabbed it and like I finished it on the plane ride home because I think my plane ride was like 2 hours. And it's a very short book. I want to say, yeah, it's like this edition is like 200 pages exactly. And a lot of it's like letter writing, so like the formatting isn't like too hefty either, and because it's letters it reads really quickly. But the I think this book is probably the most literal prompt I'm gonna have for this like little tidbit that we have, because it literally is about 2 assassins who are trying to stop this war from happening, but they both time travel. So they're constantly like, the timelines, for you as the reader, the timelines don't make sense because they speak to each other by leaving behind letters when they know that they're going to run into each other. So at first, I believe it starts out where they're kind of taunting each other, like, haha, I got to this before you. And they're like, haha, I took down the scientist that was supposed to do your big breakthrough, haha. And I think they just call each other red and blue as like the different sides. And then as they're taunting each other and they're teasing each other, they start to like confide in each other about like how much it sucks that they're like so out of place and it's so disorienting. And then by getting closer to each other, they start falling for each other via these letters. So if you really like, there's a certain word for these type of stories because it's like a classic writing thing, like epistolary or something like that.
Epistle is like letters.
Yeah. So it's like a story told through letters. So I say it fits the prompt because it's literally time traveling and it's sci-fi. They're in space because a lot of the war
Sci-fi in space.
A lot of these, like, I feel like they go to like all different types of planets, they go to all different kinds of space stations. So when I read your prompt, I was like, is there a way I can be less literal? But I feel like this fits it too well to not just do it literally. I kind of did the synopsis of the book. I'll read the back of it too. It's been a little while since I've read it. I want to say the first time I read it was 2021. Yeah, my job was not very kind with me, where most of the world was stay inside. My job was like, well, everybody else is inside, you won't get sick.
I remember. Hey, I gotta go on work travel again.
Yeah, it was like every other week. So So the description on the back of the book is, in the ashes of a dying world, Red finds a letter marked burn before reading. So begins an unlikely correspondence between two rival agents in a war that stretches through the vast reaches of time and space. Look at me.
I did write it wrong.
Red belongs to the agency, a post-singularity technotopia. Blue belongs to Garden, a single vast consciousness embedded in all organic matter. Their pasts are bloody and their futures mutually exclusive. They have nothing in common save that they're their best and they're alone. Now, what began as a battlefield boast grows into a dangerous game, one both red and blue are determined to win, because winning's what you do in a war, isn't it? A tour de force collaboration from two powerhouse writers that spans the whole of time and space. And I think this one quote is a good quote on the back of it for one of the reviews. It says, a twisting sapphic time travel fantasy love story that never stops surprising. Readers will reach the end and want to turn back to the start. And it is one of those stories where you get to the last letter and you're like, oh, because it's all time travel-y. When did that happen? So I think it's a very fun short read, but when you go into it, you have to go in and just go brain off, vibes only, because there's not necessarily the clearest plot, there's not necessarily the clearest through line, but through glimpses and overlapping letters and conversations as they're doing things, it kind of starts to all connect in terms of it's just so character driven that yeah, it was a good time.
Sounds like it. As you were explaining it, it reminded me of another book that I've read that it talks about time travel and stuff. Called The End of Eternity by Isaac Asimov.
I have read that one. I have that. Wait, if you want to stall for time, I know exactly where it is in my
okay.
other room.
I'll give a quick synopsis of it while you go do that. So yeah, The End of Eternity. Hold up. Did I even say the right title now? Bada bang, bada boom. Yeah, End of Eternity. It's about this scientist. I don't remember his name. But it's this whole organization that is able to they pretty much take this elevator that allows them to go into different time periods and almost dimensions. And one of the rules is that you can't go back into the same time period. Or the same time thing multiple times, because you could end up seeing yourself and that could cause a singularity or a I forget what it is, but it's pretty much it can cause an issue, and this guy has to go back and he's breaking all the rules of the society. It's been a while since I read it, so I'm giving a very terrible description of it, but it is very it's kind of got that time travel dimension world hopping stuff. So that is more than one book that Hop just came back for the listeners. Hop said she was going to find one book and came back with 32.
I forgot that I have this whole pile of classic books that I've collected through. I try to thrift books as much as possible. But anyway, did I interrupt? Or
I gave a very poor explanation because it was a couple of years ago since I read it.
Look how pretty this edition is.
That's way nicer than the one that came on. Let's see. Will it? If I go to this title thing, because I don't want it to download and start playing. Let's see, will it show? There we go. It's just...
Oh, yeah. Yours is just triangles. Mine has,
yeah,
magnets around a darkened planet.
It is a very neat book. It makes... this is reminding me that I need to read more of Asimov
The
books.
father of science fiction. Or master of science fiction, per what this edition says. Did you read... Can I read the back, or do you think you covered it?
You might give a better explanation than me. So go ahead.
Maybe I didn't read this one and I just own it, but it says on the back, due to circumstances within our control, tomorrow will be canceled. In the fantastic world of the end of eternity, this terrifying forecast was entirely possible. The Eternals, the ruling class of the future, had the power of life and death not only over every human being, but over the very centuries into which they were born. Past, present, and future could be created or destroyed at will. You had to be special to become an Eternal. Andrew Harlan, sorry, that's such a white name,
Yes, it is, and he very much is.
It's just also like a very white name specific to the era that Asimov is writing, and like that's a very like what year? 50s?
I closed the thing. I can look it up while you continue.
Now, this copyright 1955 by Isaac Asimov. Andrew Harlan was special until he committed the one unforgivable sin, falling in love.
Falling in love, yep.
Eternals weren't supposed to have feelings, but Andrew Harlan could not deny the sensations that were struggling within him. Andrew knew he could not keep a secret forever, and so he began to plan his escape, a plan that changed his own past and threatened eternity itself. Yes. Mm-hmm. But I also have In the Days of the Comet by H.G. Wells that I thrifted. I have The Terror.
Hey, I read that.
It was a long book. I paid $1 for this.
I paid more than
I have Snow Crash.
Ooh, yeah,
I've started this multiple times and I haven't gotten through it. I found my edition of Count Zero. Is this the second one?
I think that's the second one.
Or is this and the third one's Mona Lisa?
Yeah, or that might be. Wait, what's the first one's?
Neuromancer.
Let's find out. Neuromancer. The Sprawl trilogy. Yeah, Count Zero is the second one.
I haven't read it yet, but I collected it.
I like Neuromancer. That was a good one. But yeah, End of Eternity came out in 1995. And by say 1995, I mean 1955.
Okay, yeah, that's what the copyright says on the inside of my edition.
So,
this was 75 cents. I don't think I paid 75 cents for this. I think I paid more than that.
Yeah. But yeah, it was really neat. But like,
this edition's from 1971. Definitely feels like it with these colors.
Yeah.
For audio listeners, it's got like purples and oranges and is like, it gives me David Bowie vibes.
What's wrong with that?
And it's got fun edges. So they're like.
Do you want to see the cover of the first
purple?
edition?
Sure.
It's on Wikipedia. I'll just send you the Wikipedia link.
Ooh, Andrew Harlan, you're suffering, my guy.
And so, but yeah, it's interesting. Like, cause I'm reading a Philip K. Dick book right now. Ubeck.
Those are fun. The only one I've read is Dream
of Electricity.
Yes, the classic.
Back there. Honestly, like, I was talking to my brother because I remember my brother talking about Ubeck. I don't even know if I'm pronouncing that correctly, but it's crazy, like reading Asimov and Philip K. Dick's books, and just because there's like definitely like technology wise is set in the mind of someone from the 50s and 60s when they're writing it, but like the theme and like it just it fits so well reading it today, and it might just because I'm old, or not old, but
you're able to reflect on things more. Yeah, I want to reread the Martian Chronicles. I remember really liking that the first time I read that by Bradbury, and I feel like with a lot of the colonization efforts that are more public, I wonder if reading that I'll be like, oh, right, Martians aren't just on Mars. Have you read that one?
I don't know. I was looking it up to see if I did. I don't think I did. There's this like collection of science fiction books I read years like in middle school, and I remember the cover. I remember everything that happens in it. I just don't remember the title and who wrote it, because it's like pretty much these like kids make a spaceship in their backyard with the help of this alien, and it takes them to their home planet, and so they're there and they got to help with something in there, and it's like the alien's just a little man that glows green and stuff. That's a fun cover.
Yeah, I love getting like dollar editions from like used bookstore.
Yeah, if I had if I wasn't moving, I would want to have a library. Like, I would like to go collect some of these older things. Like, there's a couple of books that I know I would like to collect. One of them is the whole Berserk leather-bound series, but that's one where
I'm making money symbols with my fingers.
That is an expensive thing, but also something where it's just like you pull off the wrong book to And it's just like, what is happening here? It's like, it's a plot device. Please stop. No, just.
They're not encouraging it, I promise.
They're not encouraging this action.
They're just violent.
That.
I mean, it's another, like, in the way that Sword of Kaigen is, like, it's a war story, right? Like, it's very war. Like, there's a lot of bad things that happen in war.
Yes, it's. Man. Sword of Kaigen. That was a good. That's another. There's like also like books that I know I'm reading now that I'm like, I want to get a physical copy of this.
Makes sense.
But
yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, sorry, I took over your time.
I mean, it's fine. I said I didn't think I was going to take the whole time because it's a short book. Like, there's not, and if I talk more about the things that happen in it, then it like kind of takes away the magic of the book. So that's fine. Anyway, so yes, my book that I brought to Itisdpayne is This Is How You Lose a Time War.
I will say, also in towards this book of it, like just not that like Hop's explanation and. Hop knows that like if she gives a recommendation, it won't be far long before I probably go and take a look at it myself. But I also remember my brother read this book, and he was kind of in the same situation as you, like where it sounded like you started reading this as like you restarted your journey into novels and all that stuff. My brother, he sometimes I wonder if he's illiterate. But anyway, that's he doesn't listen to this. I can say whatever I want. And if anyone knows him, you better not tell him.
There's at least one listener.
No. But he normally doesn't do as much reading as we do. But he did say that last time he was at the mountain house with his girlfriend and he read that book and he was like, it was awesome. And that was the amount to his explanation of the book.
Yeah, like I know a lot of people who've like, I think a lot of people will sell this wrong. Like I've heard people sell this on the internet as like, oh, this is great sci-fi, and I don't think it's a great sci-fi because it's not like these where it's like talking about like
high end like science fiction.
Yeah, it's stuff. Not talking about things that make you think deeply about technology and effects on humanity. Like it has a war in it, so there are like discussions about like why are we doing this, but it's like a little bit more surface level. And then I've seen other people sell this as just a romance, but then people will read it and they're expecting I dropped books.
Oh, I was like they're expecting, and then it was like muffled. I'm like, if I didn't hear what you said, there's no way.
It's probably in Zoom. Or not in Zoom. It's probably in Audacity of the clunk, clunk, clunk. Oh. But, like, if you try and tell them it's a romance, like, this kind of, like, contemporary romance has a particular, like, format that people are expecting. This doesn't follow any particular format other than letter writing. So I think some people go into it with expectations. I think if you go in with just, it's letters, then like you're golden. Just go in with that expectation.
It's time travel pen pals.
Yeah.
But I don't know, there was something like, as one of my friends said when I was talking about something in my own writing that I'm working on, of just how romance works and everything, and he was like, he's like, it's neat because I'm like, it's like, as I was saying, like at the time when I was writing this, I'm like, it just feels weird writing this as somebody who's been single their whole life and just like not having any concept of what a relationship looks at except for what I've read and observed. And he's like, yeah, but that makes it good because if I was gonna write something, it would always come out of how I met my wife, and like it would be like our relationship. It wouldn't be open to like other things. So it could be a romance. It's just I don't know. I know people like that knew their grandparents met by pen pals. Like they had a paid service in the newspaper to send out letters to like, hey, you wanna? It was like blind date pen pals, and it's just
yeah, the best we get now is Farmers Near Me, or Farmers Now, or
yeah, farmers.
Is that what it was called? I forget. I just remember. I remember the old commercial where the dog would be like, Why is Farmer Jim so lonely? Well, he didn't sign up for farmers. Whatever. Just find himself
That's
a pen
it.
pal.
You activated the farmers dating sites.
I'd be surprised if it was still, because that was like when, like the 2000s.
8 best dating site for farmers. The first one is Match.com. I feel like they pay to be the first one everywhere.
On everything, yeah.
Anyway, number 2, Farmers Only. That's
the one. Farmers
You know
only.
what? That also sounds like it wouldn't be. It sounds like it could lead to some dangerous stuff. This wasn't dating. I saw this woman on Farmers Only, and she got my share of crops for the year.
And what I'm gonna say is, I hope my timer's up, and that's the last.
Oh,
that's where we end our discussion.
I stopped it a while ago.
Okay.
Muddy matches. Okay, I'm done looking at this.
Anyway, we bled a lot into your time, but you also chatted.
It's all
during
good.
that time.
Yeah, I know. I like normal couldn't stay quiet. I'm gonna start my time now. So Hop's prompt for me is a book that gives the same existential feeling as rolling a nat 1 in a important D and D fight. So I don't know if it was caught on last episode's recording, but like Hop and I were mentioning, and one, it is my runner up mainly because it could sort of Kaigen. Okay, we already mentioned it. It very well could be the one I recommend, but I wanted to see if there was something a little bit more. I guess that's not in the main light, because I think ML Wong is like starting to get a little bit of recognition. She's starting to get recognized, I guess, probably more. But I'm starting to see her name pop up a lot more, and it's sort of Kaigen is good, and I don't want to talk about it because everyone should just read it.
Trigger warnings. There's war.
A lot. It is war.
It's a very literal war and war crimes and death and bad things.
Yes. It's it is an interesting read, but yes, there is a lot of like, if you guys have ever read the Poppy War, Poppy War I feel is very much
Poppy War condensed it into like one paragraph.
One chapter. This is like spread out. But I will say the Poppy War, the sort of Kaigen, as I told Hop, I'm like, I'm not telling you anything about it, and then she would just write. I'm like, I know where you are, and I'm like, crying. Yeah. But I will say, like, I normally don't get overly emotional while I'm listening to stuff and reading books, but I'm blanking on the mother's name. Misaki? That's what I was like. Is that her name?
I can double check.
Yeah, but Misaki's story, especially with certain events that happen, I'm like, oh no, my heart will not go on.
Everything about the characters, like, yes. Honestly, like the Matsuda family.
Yeah, the Matsuda family.
Yeah, Misaki. Misaki.
Yeah, so it's but it does a really good job. It's because like it puts you like in the moment. The best way of explaining how this goes on, because like if you feel like you're getting like a pace of timing at the beginning, because like it kind of goes forward and then you're like, okay, it kind of goes like months pass, and then it's like days pass or weeks pass, and then days pass, and then it's like boom. And then you're like, and then it's just like, oh, okay.
You get really settled into the community and go, I wonder where this is. No, stop going. Stop.
Stop
please.
Going. Stop. It's like, stop going. Oh, I'm so proud of it. No, stop going. But yes.
And then as soon as you're like, okay, I have a chance to breathe, they go, and by the way, other drama bombs. And it's like, please, I understand why you wouldn't want to write in this universe, but I have so many questions.
Yes.
I need so many answers.
But yes, it is a good read. But yes, if war and the horrors of war is not something,
and it's all descriptive. Like, it's not just like, hey, they died. It's a very detailed account of all the bad things.
It is very well written, and it's very. I do think it's worth reading. But take it with a grain of salt. Do a little bit of research to
Take care of
your
yourself.
specific. Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't do what I did. Jump in without reading and research. Let's be fair. I do that with everything. I'm just like, let's just jump into it. But what I wanted to bring up is a book. Actually, it's really funny because this is a book I read. I have it. Ooh, physical copy.
Look at us this week.
Yeah, this book is actually very similar to you, a book that I read years ago that started getting me back into reading as well. It is a book. It's actually written by a Japanese author. It's called All You Need Is Kill by...
Oh, we did talk about this.
Hiroshi, I'm not going to butcher his name, Sakarazaka?
I have a manga version of
yes,
this book.
There's multiple versions of this book. Probably what is most famous to most people is the Tom Cruise movie that came out that was first called Live, Die, Repeat, and then... Or that was the... I think that was its first name, and then it got renamed Live, Die, Repeat, Edge of Tomorrow, or Edge of Tomorrow, Live, Die, Repeat, and there's like 3 titles for it. What was also really funny when I picked this up and you were talking, I found my library card.
From how long ago?
I don't know. There's not a date, but
do you still have access to that library?
Yeah.
Like, do you still live in that region?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. You bring it in and be like, can I renew this?
Yeah. I need to use Libby. Yeah, I was like, oh, well, that's there. So anyway, All You Need Is Kill is, I'm going to put this down because my camera is not in as good a position as it was for Hop. For me to be like, look. But this story, let's see, does it say the name? Keiji Kiryu. I don't know how to say his last name. But Keiji pretty much is this new recruit who joins this military front. He's sent from Japan. Okay, it's been a while, so I'm blanking on where it is because there's a war front that takes place in France, but I think the book takes place in southern Japan. It doesn't. I don't see what if it says.
I would look it up, but I'm worried of being spoiled because I do have plans of reading the manga at least, at minimum.
I'll look it up. Not that the location.
If anyone's looking to work for free for a podcast, you can Google stuff for us.
You can be on the call.
We'll pay you an exposure.
Let's see. I'm just trying to find out. It's really not important where they fight. I don't even think it says. But anyway, so anyway, he goes into the battle, and he's very much not supposed to, like, he's not ready to be there. He's just infantry, and he goes into fight, just gets destroyed, and his last thing that he sees, and they're fighting extraterrestrials. It's not very clear, what I think it does describe it, but as I said, I've read this years ago, so I'm like, I remember the basic story. I'm just I'm blanking on certain descriptive things, but hey, it's all good. You guys can read it. So anyway, he dies in there, but the last thing he sees is this famous soldier who is just known in the world as, and sorry everyone, this is not language I use, but it hurt. But this female soldier is known as Full Metal Bitch, who, she's in there, and then next thing we know, Keiji wakes up back at the beginning of him being trained, and what it turns out is that he has to constantly live the same day over and over and over and over, kind of like a Groundhog Day situation. But the problem is, it's people start wondering what's going on with him, and he's like, why did you mark your arm? Because he starts marking tally marks on his arm, for how many days he repeated, and then he gets to too many where he has to like write it on the back of his hand. And so like there's parts where you get the perspective of how other people see him, and they're just like, this guy has the body of a new recruit, but he's giving off like this aura and like energy of someone who has seen war for years. And then it's like, this is like my 1000th something blah 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 day that he repeated. But the neat thing about this is that he, like, in this world, it has like metal kind of, not Gundam suits, but more like I guess like Warhammer suits.
Yeah, because they're in the suits, right?
Yes. Yeah,
and they're people sized, not
yes,
like,
they're people sized. And yeah, so like it's him, and like it's the whole story is just him failing forward, of him trying to like learn how to pretty much, because where he's at, like he can't get a he can't use one of the suits for whatever rank he's in, and he's like, I can't survive unless I get a suit. And so he's like trying to like figure out how he can get a suit, and like he learns who he has to communicate. It also, like we were mentioning earlier, it feels almost like a Souls-like, because he'll get up to a certain point and he'll get down to a system of just like, okay, here we go, this is what I learned. And then he'll be like, okay, I know what to say to this person that lets me cut out so much stuff, so that way I can get stuff faster and then just be more prepared. But it's an interesting book. I like the ending. The ending I'm not going to spoil, but the ending I think fits just pretty much the journey that KG goes through.
Yeah, you're saying this specifically because you thought the Western adaptation was like
the Western,
it didn't fit, right?
The movie. I will say this: the way I look at Edge of Tomorrow and All You Need Is Kill is the same way that I look at before not Metal Gear Solid, Full Metal Alchemist, before it got Brotherhood came out, where you had the Full Metal Alchemist anime, and then you had the Full Metal Alchemist manga, and they follow each other up to a certain point in Full Metal Alchemist, and then there's a certain event where they split off. Now I believe Brotherhood goes back to that split and follows the manga, I believe, but I haven't watched Brotherhood.
I've also heard it's like kind of abridged too.
Yeah, and so Edge of Tomorrow and the setting is the same, but then there's like a specific event where it kind of splits, and I think that's why I'm getting confused, because the movie takes place in Paris. Like they're in France and Paris and stuff like that, where I believe in the book it takes place in southern Japan, because it talks about like the sea being there, and just like there's a tower that they're able to see like out into the ocean, which there really isn't. Like in the movie they had to like airdrop soldiers in. But overall, I do enjoy both. I will say Edge of Tomorrow, in my opinion, has the more Hollywood ending, but I feel that it fits the movie. I think it fits the movie.
The tone.
Yes. But if you had to ask me, I prefer the book ending. I don't know how the manga, because I did start reading that a little bit, but I didn't finish it, so I don't know if the manga followed. It seemed like it followed the book, but it's, from what I saw, it was enjoyable. It followed the book pretty close.
Okay.
But yeah, it's like as we were saying, like with Sword of Kaigen, like it's the atrocities of war and everything going on in there. All You Need Is Kill is also a war story, but it's like, from what I remember, that it does get it's more of like, we are so outmatched, and we're just throwing in humans to the meat grinder just to hope we can win. Until like KG meets up with certain people, and they're like, he needs like, I think he has like, I don't know if it's 24 hours or 48 hours. Like there's a certain time limit he has, and like he's always stuck like in, there's like certain things that like he can't skip. Because I remember it's not it's a pretty early on thing, like when he's like coming to the concept of a time loop, and he's just like no, and then it's like he's like, heck with this, and he tries to escape, and he's like not doing this, and he's like, man, and he like spends like the whole day, because I think if I remember correctly, he like wakes up in the middle of the day, and then he pretty much gets like the afternoon, the night, and then the next morning is when they have to go fight. And so, he like runs away, and he's like, oh, there we go. And the timeline's like, nobody, what are you thinking? And like, it's like, why are the aliens here? They're not supposed to come till, and then he dies. It's just like, but it's like death number 3. So but it's also like the one that happens in most like anime stuff, is like, well, if I'm stuck here, I'm taking everything down with me. And so, yeah, so it's neat, him trying to figure out the puzzle, and like who he can, like what he needs to say to convince people and work together and everything. I think there's stuff in the movie that does show like that struggle pretty well. There's like a scene where he's trying to talk with somebody, and they're training. There's like a certain training, which they talk about it in the book as well, like that they do to like use the suit, which they all do, but he's trying to get in contact with somebody, and he's like, hey, I need to talk to you, it's very important. And then like one of the training bots come and just slams right into Tom Cruise's character and kills him, and he just wakes up and he's like, okay. And so like it just shows him like learning how to like learning certain things. And so like most of the time his deaths are him like trying to like, I need to get to this place, I rolled over and I just got run over by a car. And so I think the movie does a good job, but I would suggest read the book first.
Okay.
Because I think the end, I like the ending, but I also think the book, certain things hit better, and then it's just like you get there and you're like, oh, okay, not like a sort of Kaigen like, oh, but it's more like, but it's more like a sad like, oh, okay, I could see it coming, but still, it's sad that you confirmed it. So, but yeah, that's all I'm gonna say about that. But it's also,
who would you recommend it to?
Nerds. No. Let's see. This book is also at least this copy is in 196 pages.
Oh, pretty. Our book links are pretty close this week too.
Yeah.
We could have rolled a D4 if we added up the page numbers.
Oh, I was very confused for a second. What the heck is this? And I think they have like the timelines here, like in the front. I don't know when this book came out. 2004. This is when the first copy came out. Who would I would recommend this to people who, it's like if you like Groundhog Day, but you're like, man, it'd be cool if this was in another kind of situation, like a more like gritty kind of Groundhog Day, I guess. But if you like following somebody who is, if you enjoy I guess a good way to look at this is if you look at the murder mysteries. This is not a murder mystery, but like it's a puzzle piece. It's a puzzle where you're trying to find the solution, and as you get more pieces, you put it into the puzzle, and that's what like a murder mystery book is. With this, you have the solution of what he needs to do, and
you don't know the steps.
But he doesn't have like the puzzle pieces to get there. So like he has like the outline of the puzzle of he's like, this is what I need to do. And then through trial and error, he's like finding these puzzle pieces and finding out where they fit together and like what he needs and just
it almost like with that description, I know that description's very high level, but that high level description makes me think of like a point and click. I know I need to get to that door, but I don't have the this is broken, that's broken, I don't know how to start that.
And then you rage quit.
And you die over and over again until you open the door.
But yeah, it's very much like that. Or if you just like military sci-fi, it doesn't go super like it's not. I feel like military sci-fi goes into like
really dark,
really dark. Like it's called a light novel. Like so it doesn't get into like the atrocities of war or of soldiers and stuff, but it does talk about like different rankings and like how people like look at other people and just how and just like kind of like chain of command, but it's just like how is this peon like going to convince the whole army is like, hey, I need that. So and then but yeah, it's pretty much like a puzzle book while you're reading it, and then you're just trying to figure out like okay, how long. And I know there's other stuff that's in there that it's kind of like spoil sides that open it up to more than, because it's just more than like I need this, please. There's other stuff that's going on in there, but yeah, I don't want to talk about it anymore because I don't want to accidentally spoil stuff.
That's how I felt like talking about this. I was like, oh, there's some great things, but if I mention it, especially in these books that are shorter, that it's hard to like be able to give like, oh, for example, wait. Yes. That's not an example. That's just
because there's something it's about to say, and I'm like, oh, wait a second, that would kind of spoil something. But
that's okay. But yes.
Yeah. No, but it's worth reading. Both these books are worth reading.
Yeah, so to rehash, my prompt that Deepin gave me was a book that challenges you to stretch the boundaries of space and time. And I said, this is how you lose the time war. And Deepin.
Oh, and I had a book that gives the same existential feeling as rolling a nat 1 in an important D&D fight, and I chose All You Need Is Kill.
Yeah, if you've read these books, let us know in any comments, messages, reviews. If you think of other books that could also fit these prompts, also let us know via that. And if you like these episodes, definitely let us know, because I like making them.
I'm enjoying it. It's the prompt for next episode, I'm like, oh man, I know a good title for that. I didn't read that book, but I know a book. I'm probably just going to bring it up as a
potential
because I know it will fit. But I haven't read it. Did we?
The prompts you have.
Prompts?
Oh yeah, let's give the prompts. So what's the one that you have for next week?
Hop gave me a book that leaves you feeling like a single drop of water in a massive size of an ocean.
And I have from Deepin a book that grows a desire to live in that world. And like I'm sitting here like thinking, and I'm like, there are plenty of worlds I would live in, but not that one. A lot of people die in that one. What about this one? Yeah. So yours is vague enough. I think I know what I will go with.
I have a couple. Like I feel like this one I'm gonna have a hard time thinking of one, but I think I might just have a couple that I'm like, yes, these. So, but anyway, my brain forgot whatever I was gonna say next.
Share with a bunch of people. Rate, review, comment.
Eat some
yell
cheese.
At us.
Yes. Yell.
Tell us about what you think of our book tastes. If you don't like them, unleash us on your greatest enemies. If you agree with them, unleash us on people you like.
Tell us what color we should paint our nails. I don't know. We'll take any interaction.
Yeah, there was something, and I still forgot what it is. So it must have been super important. By the time we say bye, I'll remember.